there are only so many, your pie is never going to get any bigger. And so if you take a bigger slice in one area, it's just going to shrink a slice in another.
It's got to come from somewhere.
It's got to come from somewhere.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Unrattled, where we like to hang out and talk about the less than perfect moments we have as a parent. You can feel better about parenting after you listen to this. And so, guys, I am your host, Austin Lee, with my co-host, Jessica Stinson.
Hey.
How are you doing today, Jessica?
I'm great. How are you?
I am very excited about our guest today. Today in the studio, we have Justine Bixler. Hello, Justine.
Hey, good afternoon.
How are you doing today?
Doing great. Better now that I'm here with y'all.
Right? And inside, because it's 1,000,000 degrees outside.
Absolutely.
It's the worst. All right. So, Justine, before we get today, we're talking about our summer meltdowns with our kids. But before we get into that, can you tell us about yourself? Tell us what you do. Tell us about your family and your beautiful little baby.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born and raised in Mobile and grew up here. I went to Montessori, Mary B. Austin, and then St. Paul's before I headed off to college. And I have one 2.5-year-old child, and I work for the United Way of Southwest Alabama and became the president and CEO in October.
Yeah!
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you.
You deserve it. You're freaking awesome.
Thank you.
I was telling Jessica earlier, like anytime I see your staff, you guys are constantly hustling. They're like, hey, we're at an event. Like Wendy went and spoke at one of the events trying to help raise money and stuff. And dude, Kim was like, all right, we got our stuff. She was just all right, we'll see you guys later. I've got to go over here now and go meet with these people. And it's just crazy how
hardworking.
Yes, super hardworking. So you guys are awesome.
Y'all make it easy because we want to make the world a better place.
That's
and
right.
Help put forward the great programs like that y'all have at Greg. So we're excited. Our team loves to help, and we love to see y'all. It's always fun to connect with our cool friends out in the community.
Yeah, we're the cool friends. No one's ever called me a cool friend, just so you know. No one's ever called me cool.
Don't tell the others.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right. So today we're talking about summer meltdowns or just meltdowns in general with our kids, because we've all had it, especially in the summer. Go out to the pool, or they're having too much ice cream. They stay up a little later, so they maybe don't sleep as well the night before. But it never fails. If you've been a parent for any amount of time, you've dealt with a meltdown. Mm-hmm. So, Justine, to kind of kick us off, do you have a story about the time your little one melted down?
There are probably so many that they come together in a meltdown blur where it's hard to dissect.
You're in the twos. Is it really the terrible twos?
I don't really think so. People keep telling me if it's not there yet, it's coming. So just wait for it.
But which
makes me nervous.
They've never met her. How do they know?
The threes were worse to me than the twos.
I believe Jessica.
I liked the twos.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with it. They're easily distracted. If you can just sing and dance, even if it's bad, and you can distract them. And bubbles, that's it.
Even if it's bad?
Oh, yeah, they don't care if you can sing.
They don't know.
We'll put some Snoop Dogg on here.
They still
That's
think we're
amazing.
cool now.
They love Snoop Dogg.
They love the Snoop.
Yeah, why not?
The affirmations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We listen to those. Doggy Land.
Listen, all the time she comes in here singing that thing. She's like, guys, I need some Snoop Dogg today. And I know exactly what she's talking about.
I mean, it's either that or Big Sean, and I think this is a lot more appropriate. So
you just go with whatever's on there.
Right.
Her favorite now is Mr. Golden Sun. So frequently you'll see me.
I've never heard this. What is this?
I'm a terrible singer.
No, please do.
Sun, Mr. Golden Sun,
you don't
please shine down on me.
Yeah.
No, I've never heard that.
She loves it.
You did
She
a good
likes
job,
to
by the
open
way.
the sunroof, see the sun come through, all windows down in the car. Hair's blowing right after you get it
Sunglasses.
straightened on the way to work.
Of course.
And people just see me shooting down Old Shell, blaring Mr. Golden Sun.
That's you. That is you. I didn't know it was you.
See you all the
You've seen
time
me.
now.
Yeah.
Then I'm mad at how happy you are, and you're just like, know what's going on. All right. So do you have a story about the time your daughter melted down or anything like that?
One that really comes to mind, that it was in the car, and we went to visit family over in Fairhope or in Point Clear, so all the way down there by the Grand Hotel, as far away from Mobile as you could possibly be. It feels like
It's a haul.
Mm-hmm. And so we were leaving, and we were off. We did the sleep schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Mom's on call. Mom's on call.
Did it work?
Yeah, I was a big fan of it. Now your other family makes fun of you because they're like, okay, they're them and their schedule,
Right, they can't come hang out.
Oh, Justine and Ryan just being on their schedule.
Yeah.
Forget those people.
Yeah, forget them because it worked for
I was
us.
going to say, it doesn't matter as long as it works.
Those people. That was me.
He does. Yeah, he is.
I think I did. I was that person before too. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Just let them fall asleep in your lap here or whatever.
Yeah, just hang out.
Now I'm like, we've got to go home. We've got to get on schedule. They got them in their bed. And so I did find that worked though, but it was just as predictable or as helpful as it was. It was also predictable when you knew a meltdown would ensue because
you missed the schedule.
You missed the schedule. Yeah. So you're like, oh, this afternoon's going to be
great. At least you can predict it.
Yeah. You're like, skip nap. So we were over in Fairhope and she didn't really eat a lot. And we were coming back and Ryan's grandmother was in the car. She lives in the neighborhood with us. And, you know, as a mom, a young mom, so young.
You are.
You're always, you're thinking about like, what are the matriarchs in the family thinking of you? Like, what are your aunts' take on how you're doing as a mom? You're doing a good job. And certainly my husband's grandmother I hold her in a very high regard. So I'm like, all right, it's me, Ryan, Betsy, Goggy is what we call her.
I love that.
I love Goggy.
Ryan and Goggy were in the front. I was in the back with Betsy. And she just, I don't know. I don't know what it was really, except for maybe we were a little off the schedule, but she just started bawling, crying, screaming in the car. I could tell that they were having a conversation in the front seat and that conversation had since stopped. So they're just like in silence, staring off, out to the front windshield thinking, how soon can we get to the causeway?
Right.
And back over there. And so I was like, I think we should stop. I'm telling Ryan. So he pulls over, we stop, we like get her out. I'm like, okay, nothing was wrong. She hadn't gone to the bathroom. Everything's good. We're like, let's try again. So we get her back in. We get on the road again, and there it comes again, just screaming, melting down the whole time. I could feel my blood pressure like elevated. Like,
because sometimes it's the shrieks that hit that certain level, and I'm just like, oh, that
it
taps
does something
a nerve.
to you.
Yes,
yeah, it's
100%.
Like, and I'm like, should I take her out of her car seat? I mean, I know I can't do that. Obviously, when we're driving down the road,
but you're thinking
to hold
about
her,
it.
I'm sitting there, I'm like shaking the car seat as much as I can. I'm trying to fan her, dancing, nothing.
Making face. You're doing everything.
Everything. Nothing's happening. So then we just all sat there in silence as she continued to scream until I think she just wore herself out.
And went to bed.
She just fell asleep.
Did they say anything? The people riding with you?
No. As soon as Ryan...
did Goggy ever say anything?
Goggy never said anything. As soon as Ryan as soon as she got out of the car, I was like, Ryan, your grandmother's think I'm the worst mom ever. Oh my God, I couldn't calm her down. He was like, she doesn't think that, she's been through it. So then I called my mom and I was like, Mom, this happened. And she said, this reminds me of a story when we took you to Disney World when you were little.
Here we go.
And you had a meltdown in the bushes in the theme park.
Disney meltdown, like vacation
meltdown.
Are the
epic.
In front of everyone. And everyone in the theme park, if you ask my mom, was staring at you, looking, what's wrong with that child? You're crying, throwing a tantrum, throwing yourself on the ground. And she was with my grandmother, called Granny. And she said, she asked her, what do I do? And she said, I don't know, but if we just walk over here behind this column, maybe they won't know that we're with her.
They abandoned
so they just left me there.
That's great.
And then she said, my grandmother went on to say, well, no one's going to take her. Screaming like that.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Disney back in the day was different.
You
have to wait in line for characters. And
you didn't need a backpack leash or anything like that.
Parents were abandoning their kids that were screaming. Like, let them fend for themselves. They'll figure this out.
Stop. Right. No one's going to get them. That's what
Granny said. Look, you're here today, stronger, better.
That's right.
She was like,
running
so
a nonprofit, killing
it. It's okay.
So your advice to us is when they start screaming, leave them at Disney World.
Make somebody else think they belong to them.
Hey, hold this for a minute.
That's hilarious. No. That reminds me of the story I was going to tell. My son Jonathan, he's 27 now, but when he was, I think he was like 4 or 5, we went to a conference in Orlando. So my cousin that I'm really close with, she's like my sister. She had just graduated high school. This was like right after graduation. So I'm like, I'll take you with me. I'll pay for your trip. We'll go to Disney World, go SeaWorld. And then if you'll just watch Jonathan while I'm in classes, So she did that one day. They stayed out at the pool, and then we went to SeaWorld. I mean, there was every kind of shark gun and, like pirate hat, whatever he could get, he got. So after we did all that, we went to, we were going to a restaurant, and we had to walk into a drugstore that was right next door, and he wanted some shark something, and I was like, no, you've gotten enough toys, like we're gonna go eat dinner. And he literally laid down on the floor and started screaming. I mean, this child just never acts like that. And he was screaming and crying, and I was just standing there staring at him like, I don't know what to do. And so I just turned around and walked out.
Just you abandoned him at
As
the
well.
theme
Well, I
park.
mean,
This seems to be
but I mean,
it's a theme.
But my cousin was standing there, and I looked at her, and she looked at me, and I was like,
I'm sorry.
I didn't even say anything. I just walked out. I'd never seen him act like that. I was like, I'm going to kill him. If I touch him or talk, I'm going to kill him.
I'm going to strangle him.
I feel like when the Emma's at home, my husband and I, it's like we're in like a wrestling tag team or a relay. He's like, I'm
You've got
tagging in,
to.
I got it. Or like, you tag in, I got it. Because you know when the other one
That's
has like
good
reached
parenting.
their threshold where
Right.
they're like, they can't take it anymore. I got to get up and get out of the shower and go get to them quickly to change the course.
Yeah.
I have said this on the podcast before, and I want to preface this by saying I would never do this. I would never do this. However, I've been in a car with a screaming kid, and I can see how some people have just put him on the side of the road and left. I would never. Kids, if you see this, I would never. But I have a little more empathy because it's like, I can't.
You're trapped in a confined space.
I
like
am
your
done.
pressure is elevated.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to a theme park with my brother if this story gets you, because they have one kid, my brother, and we have 4. So we'll be somewhere and he's like, "All right, my brother's like, "All right, let's go to the gift shop." I'm like, "What are you doing? Why are you going to the gift shop? Like pencils are $10."
Yeah.
Like, we're not going.
Don't even go through there.
Why are you going over there? And then he gets something and all my kids are like,
Who wants something? You're like,
Yeah.
there's 4 of you.
the numbers are just
The
more.
math ain't mathin'.
It's just more.
Also, when you think about how much money that theme park puts into product placement and where those products are located that children want them.
And you have to exit the rides through the gift shop.
Listen,
every time.
Our
Every time.
family,
It's genius.
We like Disney. We love Universal.
I love Disney.
They are coming up with a new theme park, Epic Universe. It's going to be phenomenal. We can't talk about this right now because I'll get into a deep dive because I've been keeping up with the last 3 years, watching like drone footage and stuff.
You're ready.
Of them building it. If you go to a theme park, by the time you leave, you're like, it's a ride and nothing but gift shops.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. And you're like, but I love it.
I
want to go
love
back.
it. I can't
Harry
wait to
Potter.
go back.
Walk in there and that dragon blows fire, and I'm like, oh, how much do we have to pay again? Doesn't
Last
matter.
summer, Mark and I took all of our kids. So we have a blended family. He has 2 girls. I have a boy and a girl. Thea is the baby. She's about to be 16. The rest are grown. Mark had never been to Disney. When we left, within like 2 weeks after we left, he was like, so I took out a credit card. It's a Disney card. You earn points to go back to Disney. And I'm like, you have been bitten by the bug.
The bug. You want to go back.
There's only a 50%
You're a Disney
APR
adult
on it.
Whatever.
I will
You're like,
say,
I wasn't planning on going back. Everyone's grown.
Oh, no, we're going.
oh no, yeah, no,
Because we
still.
all did the Food and Wine Festival. It was
I've never heard of
great.
that.
Yeah.
Eat and drink around the world. It was fabulous.
I will say when I do go to Disney, I see a kid melting down. I'm like, hey guys, stop. We got to watch this. The people watching at theme parks,
It's amazing.
It's so good.
It is good.
Well, that's what you're always measuring yourself up to, like other people, right? So, like, are their kids melting down? Because social media you have your really funny friends on social media that post really honest truths about
Correct.
their children and
Thank
their
God for
raising.
people
And
like
I'm
that.
like, real friend. And then you
Yes.
have the other side that is just like everything's glorious
It's
all the time.
I know, and nobody ever has a wedgie or like nothing awkward is happening with their family of 10. And I'm like, this is deep fake. This cannot be real.
They didn't have to get rid of 3 pair of shorts in the same day because the kid peed or
In one
pooped all
photo
over.
shoot.
Yeah, seriously. No, I don't buy it.
I don't either.
I'm like, no, I can't unfollow. Like, well, I do it where I still follow them, but I don't see their feed anymore for my own mental health.
I get you.
Because I refuse to believe that.
Yeah, it's that time. It's that season.
I will-
Every 4 years it comes around. I'm like, unfollow for a few months.
I kind of think that's why this like podcast is so great, because it helps provide another outlet where you realize like I'm really not in this alone. You know, the stories of meltdowns are in the hundreds of thousands. And to hear like the generations before us are like, yeah, you did that in the bushes at Disney World, embarrassed me to no end. I'm like, sorry, Mom.
Because you do start to think like, is it me? Is it just me? Am I really failing and screwing up at this? Like
Listen, I completely forgot about this till you just said that. My parents have my biggest meltdown as a child on camcorder. The big one that went like on your shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
And I was probably
with a whole tape in it.
Yes, with a whole, not the little ones.
Yeah, the whole
the
tape.
big
The
tape.
whole thing.
And so we were living in Mobile. I'm probably 5 years old. I wanted a Coke. And my dad kept going, what, you want a goat? And then they're like, my mom would come in, no, Mike, he wants a boat. And they kept doing this. I'm in tears.
it's not funny to you one bit.
No, I am melting down. I am kicking the wall, and I'm like, I'm gonna kick a hole in this wall. And then that's when it gets serious. My dad's like, if you kick a hole in that wall,
you're gonna be in so much trouble.
It's all fun and games.
You can hear me now, can't you?
Yeah. What about now? It's like I can't win this game. But then it was funny is when I had
I feel like that could be a case study on like emotional regulation with your children.
Here's the thing, but I think my brother hates it when I do it to my kids or his, just kind of like pick with them a little bit. Do. But it's one of those things where it's like they'll toughen up. They'll be like it's good. For
He's
them
a poke. He does poke.
I've learned not to. But here's where I realized I had my phone out and she was throwing a fit, and I panned over to her and she's on the ground screaming. And then anything she said she wanted, I just started rhyming. And it was like a bell, like a light went off. I was like, I am my parents.
I'm doing
it
the same thing that they did to me.
Same thing my parents did to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's what happened.
I've kept the strategy of walking away. It works for me.
Yeah, apparently you did that at the theme park.
I don't leave them places. But like at home, we
were in the pool. He didn't have floaties on. He started throwing a fit, so I just left him.
Yes, not in public places. I didn't. But that has served me well in the last couple of years with the teenage daughter.
Sometimes I think it's good for everybody because they're measuring us to see how we're reacting to them. And
sure.
Even at 2 years old, you can tell.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, am I getting attention from this? And a lot of times if you walk away, like at home, Betsy will just stop whatever she's doing and go back to playing with whatever it is. You know, if you can't distract her or try to turn it into a positive, you just kind of give her a space. And then she's like, well.
And when I did just that, she went into complete nuclear meltdown because she wanted attention.
Yep.
And when I didn't give it to her, she was, because I told her she had to sit at the table because she was in timeout for, I can't remember what it was. But I was like, hey, she was screaming. And I was like, I'm not going to acknowledge this. So I ignored her. She literally had like veins, face red, crying. And then my heart just broke. And I went over there and I was like, I had to settle her down because I just felt so bad. And I was like, I can't keep doing this to her. It just was, you
thinking like your rational adult brain, it's not rational, but to them, they really feel that way.
Yeah.
You know, that's what
it's
I think.
Very
like,
big.
Yeah,
sometimes
it's very real.
I can catch a look of like in Betsy's eyes, and like you said, you feel bad because you're like, she really deep down at 2 years old
wants to
is
connect.
feeling this stress.
No, well, their studies have come out that if a parent is on their phone and trying to engage, and if you just look up and engage and smile with them, they're connecting. That's very, because that's all they can do. They can't talk. That's how they connect, by looking at you and by your face. But they did a study where the baby was trying to connect with the mother, and she would just look down at a phone and wouldn't look at her, and the baby instantly went into like distress and crying. And no, I think she'll
swat my phone out of my hand if I'm trying to respond to an email or something, and she'll say, "No phone, mama," and just like, bap.
She already knows. Mm-hmm. Keep that family time sacred.
And now you said recording meltdown. Sometimes if you pull the phone up, she'll stop. She's like, soldier. Like,
you're not getting blackmail on me.
She knows. She's like, I know it's on the other side
this
of
ain't coming out of my wedding.
Photographs, and she'll be like, no pictures.
Yeah.
The only time I recorded Audrey Kate, my youngest, who is, it makes me so mad. She's cute. Like, she's adorable.
Yes.
And you'll be mad and she'll just smile. And she literally brightens up. She's just adorable. But she knows it, and it's the worst.
They know.
It's the worst. It makes me so angry. Me and my wife will look at each other, and I'm like, it makes me so mad.
She's so cute.
But we got Popeye's chicken nuggets one night. She had a meltdown. She didn't want them. She only had 5. I was only going to make her eat 2. And then I realized I had lost the fight when I was like, you can't have ice cream till you eat your 2 chicken nuggets. And I was like, none of this is healthy. Like, it used to be like, you can't have ice cream till you eat your broccoli.
Your vegetables.
Yeah, now it's like you can't have ice cream till you eat your fried chicken.
Fried chicken and your French fries.
And your French fries. Got to eat at least 10 of them things
corn
too.
Nuggets.
And your ketchup. You got to eat all that sugar right there too. And I'm like, I've lost every front on this one. But she went into a complete meltdown. It wasn't long ago. It was like 2 years ago.
How old was she then?
She was probably 7.
Yeah.
So just you
Wrong
couldn't
meal item.
Yeah, right. And you could not rationalize with her. You couldn't tell her anything. She just wasn't listening. And literally the next day, we got her settled down. She kind of isolated herself for the rest of the night. The next morning, we're talking. We're on our way to school, and I look over. She's in the passenger seat, and I was like, hey, remember that time you had a meltdown over Popeye's chicken nuggets? And she's like, Yeah, that was stupid.
I kind of want those right now.
Yeah. Can you heat those up for me when I get home from school? And you're like, okay.
Sometimes it has to be their idea.
For sure.
You know, if you're like, do you want chicken? No. And then later you're like, anything you want? And she's like, this chicken looks great. I'm like,
I want that.
Yeah.
All right. So we have 2 more things we're going to go over real quick. One, we're going to do a segment we call Time Out. We all, as parents, have crap that we hate and we wish we could just get rid of. This week, do you have something as a parent that you want to put in Time Out? It could be a color. It could be a song your kid's listening to. It could be anything as a parent that's getting on your nerves.
Well, right now we joined the pool this summer. And I love the pool.
Yeah.
And so does Betsy. And she wants to go every single day of her natural life to the pool.
You should just get a house with a pool.
And
right
you try
now.
to be like, it's cleansed. And it's like she knows that it's not.
There's leeches in the pool.
Yeah, you're like, we can't go. But it's hard because, you know, when we work all day and then the pool is open at night. But sometimes if you get home at 6, the last thing you want to do is pack up
and go to the
pool.
floaties
and all the stuff and go to the
You're
pool.
Exhausted.
And then she's supposed to be in bed, you know, by 7:30 or whatever. And so it's like, do we try to do it in this window? And then she gets her stuff and she'll put them on in the house. And she's like, I'm ready for the pool, mama.
And you can't.
And you're like, we gotta go. We gotta go.
You go turn on the bath and you're like, all right,
she gets in the bath. And we also bought one of those, Sam's Club or Costco had a sale of those inflatable, like a slide, like a water slide.
Oh, yeah.
And I had probably gone like 5 times where I was like, I should get that. No, I'm not going to. So I didn't put it in the cart. One day, if my husband will say, if I go shopping unattended, unaccompanied, I either come back with way too much food or some item that you just gotta have.
Sam's, I hit Sam's up all the time. That's the problem.
So I was like, if I can pick that slide up myself and get it in the cart, then I can buy it. So I did, like bear hug.
You had some mama strength come. You're like,
yes. I was like, all the free time I'm going to have with this water slide, it was worth it. So I packed it up and put it in the cart and bought it. And he laughed when he got home because he was like, you were by yourself, saw it in the store, here it is. But it's like, you know, that thing's awesome, but it's also terrible because it's 111 degrees outside. You pop the thing up, blow it up, plug the hose in. We have a big backyard and it kind of runs down a hill, you know, and so you're on the back 9 is what we call it, down there with the slide blown up. You got to, you know, either fog the air or spray the bug spray and the mosquitoes.
Yep.
Wait for the water to fill up. And then about, you know, like 5 minutes into playtime, it's like, I'm done with this. I just want to go back inside or I want to go up the hill.
It's so hot outside.
And I'm like, you know, dying in the grass. And I will say that normally my husband is wonderful. The one, he's like, I'll set it up.
That's dad life.
Dad life. And, but then he always wants to set it up and he takes it down because we can't have it kill the grass. You know, he takes
I was about to say, it will kill the grass.
They kill the grass
yes.
and nothing will save it. You can't put a tarp or do anything and it just leaves the hole. So, he is very mindful of our yard, our grass, and he wants to take care of it. So we got to take it down too. So if it were me, I'm like, just leave it up and we'll see how long it'll last and keep our fingers crossed.
No, because it will kill that grass. You'll move that grass, then it's white or yellow and it's done.
It's all you see.
You know, what's funny is I have conversations with multiple dads in our neighborhood. I'm like, Michael, he lives across the street from. I'm like, Michael, your grass look amazing. Like I'll be driving by.
You have grass envy in the neighborhood.
Yeah, but I found out why his grass looks so good, and I'm not willing to pay that much for that. My grass looks good.
Did he call like Grassy Roots?
He has. Yeah, there's
some company.
Somebody comes out and sprays. He's like, they literally come out and spray 3 times a year. It's this amount of money, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. Like I'm not paying that. Like my grass looks good, not as good as yours. It's noticeable. And you know how I really hit it?
Jessica, do you ever comment on your neighbor's lawn?
No,
don't. Me neither.
Dad pride, man. That's what I'm talking about. The neighbors next to him, you can definitely see where his yard ends and like where the neighbors begins. Because it's like,
he's like, don't spray over that line.
He's like, there it is. There's the property line, and it's noticeable. Dear, bless that guy's heart.
Have you ever seen those on Instagram or those videos where it's like mom says we're having a birthday party for the kid, and the mom and dad get ready, and it like pans the mom. She's inside, like hair a mess. She has tons of groceries.
Yeah,
and then the dad is out in the woods, power washing, blowing the leaves, like
power washing trees
on the back 9. Power washing trees. He's up on the roof cleaning the gutters out.
We have this joke at our house if we're going to go anywhere, and my husband's coming. So, like, for example, Sunday we got up and it was like, you want me to cook breakfast? And he's like, I'd love some beignets. I'm like, let's go to New Orleans. It's 2 hours.
Yeah.
Teenagers were up, jumped in the car, go to New Orleans. So they're getting their stuff together. I look over. We're about to get in the car to drive to New Orleans, and Mark's he's got the vacuum out. He's vacuuming the rug. I was like, "What are
Just
you?
real quick.
What are you doing?"
He wants to come home to a clean
He's
house.
like, "Well, I'm waiting
No,
on
in
the
the house.
kids.
The house rug.
I may as well vacuum." I'm like, "What?"
Like, we are leaving.
So if we're in the car, so Fia will always ask me, "Is Mark coming with us?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Great, he's going to cut the grass first, isn't he?" And I'm like,
Maybe.
he might.
She's like, "Where
When he
is
comes
he?
back, it'll be looking fresh.
Is he cleaning the glass? What is he doing?" Like, where's
My wife gave me a list. We had some people coming over the house. She gave me a list of things. I had made a list and she had approved it. And my wife is the
As she
sweetest
should.
woman. Right. Yeah, for sure. She's the sweetest woman ever. She was walking out the door. I was like, yeah, the garage, which is kind of my space. It keeps all like the tools and all the other things. I was like, I'm going to try to clean up the garage because it's just a wreck right now. She stopped and turned and looked me dead in the eyes. And she's like, that's the lowest on the priority, right? Like wanted to clarify.
Just like we're nodding your
that
head,
was not,
looking
I'm
at her
like,
like,
you don't have the
I got
authority
so mad. I'm like,
to
I'm
move
not
that
dumb.
up to the top
But-
of the list.
But
You have
then
no
I
authority.
thought, I'm like, no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I was
what you would've
mad.
done first.
You
Oh,
would
100%.
He totally would have done it.
No, I knew my orders, and I went to marching.
Good.
Got everything done before she got back. Most of it done.
This happened
And-
recently with us where we were out of town. It was my birthday. It was our 4th wedding anniversary. We went to the beach for a week. My husband had to work while we were there. He works remote, and it was fine. So, he hung out with us at night, but worked during the day. So, but then that was me, and to steal one of his phrases, in the trenches taking grenades all day long
With the
with
kid.
Betsy in the pool at the beach
Such
on
a
a
great
walk.
reference.
In the trenches.
It's old school.
In the trenches taking grenades. And like I would come up there and he's just, working away, but it seemed so peaceful while he was working. I'm like, I would rather be working right now than what I'm doing.
So funny.
Burning up on the equator down here.
Yes.
And lugging all the stuff and the sand, everywhere. And like,
The
anyway.
beach is great till you get there. And you're like, oh.
Yeah. And you're like, this is a lot of work.
The memory of it is even great.
But
But then you're there.
Listen, I've only met your husband once at the Cracker Barrel in Pensacola where we ran into each
oh
other.
my God, yeah.
Yeah. It's the only time I've ever met your husband,
Random.
seen him.
That
But he
was when my
sounds like-
mom and mom and sister brought my daughter to me and did not clip her car seat in.
Uh-oh.
So she's just
Well,
bouncing
It
back
was
there.
clipped but not tightened. So the big loops, they
Oh,
tell you.
yeah.
She just
Slipped out?
yeah. And I was like,
What's up?
did y'all even tug this? And they're like, that was a step we were forgetting.
Oops.
We knew these things have gotten too complicated.
My mom's
Actually,
like, I had you when I was 42 and she's 77 now. She's like, I don't remember this stuff. And you didn't even sit in anything this nice ever. So you're fine.
That's
the laws back in the day were a little looser.
Yeah.
I saw a video the other day where they were getting people's reactions from the law passing that people aren't allowed to drink and drive anymore. And these people are like, you're telling me I can't get a beer and crack it on the way home from work?
Yes, sir.
And
That
they're
is
like,
what we're
is
telling
this
you.
America even anymore? And I'm
I
like,
actually
oh
have
dear God.
I have a friend, it's a mutual friend that you and I have, that he refuses to wear a seatbelt. He says, if I get a ticket, I don't care.
Did you just listen to it?
It is
ding?
he does.
That is as
That's a
pressure.
psychopath.
he
That's-
listens to,
That's
I wouldn't
there's no
disagree
other
with
way
you.
to-
But
know that.
but yeah, he's literally, he's like, I'm just letting you know, like, it's my right. If I don't want to wear a seatbelt in my own car that I own, I'm not going to wear a seatbelt. And if I die, that's my choice. And like, I don't care. I'll pay the ticket. I'll tell you this later, but
I don't understand people. I don't understand people sometimes.
It is what it is.
All right, last part of the show. It's our favorite part. We all do this one. The last part of our show we call nap time. We think healthy parents make healthy kids. Ain't nothing healthier than taking a little bit of nap, a little cat nap every now and then. So for you, self-help, keeping yourself healthy, what do you do? What do you like to do to stay healthy, Justine?
work more. No.
Oh, that's, yeah, there it is.
For us, like family walks, we enjoy going walking
Yeah.
when we get home. Of course,
It's a little hot right
111
now.
degrees changes that a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a
Gotta
little,
wait till
Walk
midnight.
to the pool.
little roasty. Yeah, we'll walk to the pool every day. No, going on walks. I recently got one of those pull behind my bike, like strollers for her to ride in. So at 9 p.m. one night, I tested it out in the neighborhood to pull her behind. And she was like, slow down, Mom. You're going too fast.
I thought you might have done it when she went to bed and like put a watermelon back there to make sure it didn't
the dog. And then she then she was like, by the end of it, she's like, go faster, go uphill. So some of that just,
spending time with family.
I love that. That's always, in a world that we are so connected, I've tried really hard to, now I'm sure my team, our incredible team at United Way would tell you that I'm not very disconnected. My husband would probably tell you that I'm not disconnected, but I feel like I do a great job when I'm at home with family and trying to really just devote that time that you're there.
Right. Be
when
present.
Your 2-year-old turns around and slaps the phone out of your hand and tells you no, Mom, when you're responding to a work email, it really
it's a kind of a wake up call.
Yeah, it tells you, there's a balance.
Good.
There was a, Brene Brown book, and she wrote about the pieces of the pie.
I love Brene Brown.
And awesome. And, your pie is only so big. And so if you have like a slice for your family, a slice for your work, slice for, your faith, God, community service, whatever, there are only so many, your pie is never going to get any bigger. And so if you take a bigger slice in one area, it's just going to shrink a slice in another.
It's got to come from somewhere.
It's got to come from somewhere. So to try to find that, balance, good night's sleep is always great, for me. I'm fortunate my sister owns a yoga studio. And so I get to go do yoga. And it's also right by Red or White, which is really convenient because you can just yoga and then have pizza and wine afterwards.
Self-care. That's awesome.
And we like to cook as a family too.
Well, Justine, this was great.
This is awesome.
You were so much fun. We'll definitely have to have you back.
Positive lights.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Same. Back at you.
Well, listen, guys, as you could hear, none of us have this parenting thing figured out. So if you feel like a less than perfect parent, welcome to the club. You can come hang out with us anytime. And we'll see you next time here on Unrattled. Thanks, guys.
Bye.